Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about this massive blizzard, winter storm, ice storm. I mean, we have everything with this winter system. You can see the map of the National Weather Service is lit up with all sorts of advisories, warnings, watches, and different weather alerts. In the pink, we have, which you can see right there, oh sorry about that, across a good portion of North Dakota and Minnesota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Nebraska, Wisconsin, so many states. We have the winter storm warnings. Here in the red, we have blizzard warnings. In the pink, or in the purple right here, we have ice storm warnings. In the blue right here, we have winter weather advisories. And in this darker, we have winter storm watches. So I mean, just literally everything and anything that you could think of in terms of weather alerts. Obviously, further towards the west, we have even some avalanche warnings, kind of with that snowfall that was that fell and is now potentially prone to sliding off. We have some flash flood watches across the south, and we are literally hours away from this system starting to take off across the plains. Right now, we're kind of in this little period of lull. It is snowing across the mountains, but the system is about to make its entrance onto the central United States, and in fact, it did. And by the time I upload this video, I have a feeling that this radar will already be a lot more exploding with precipitation. Notice we do have some early thunderstorms starting to develop across Kansas and whatnot, and yeah, this thing's gonna pivot pretty significantly into a blizzard relatively quickly. So I want to show you that, and yeah, we are kind of at the calm before the storm, but literally just minutes or hours before this thing just explodes. Okay, let's start talking about this system, and let's start focusing on the Northwestern United States. Again, use the scroll bar down below to skip to your region, as that is where otherwise this video is going to be close to probably 20-25 minutes long because of how much content we have to cover. Good news for the Northwest is, and we'll keep this video a little bit shorter as opposed to my other last two videos, is the fact that this storm is mainly done for this area, including southwestern Canada. You can see we don't have much more activity going on. We have some snow, obviously, as you saw, across Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. The main areas that are going to continuously get impacted all the way into Thursday include eastern Montana and eastern Wyoming. Otherwise, it's done for you guys. Washington, Oregon, most of Idaho, California, Nevada. And you can see what I mean by that, right? By Tuesday, we see that storm or that snow across Wyoming shift from central Wyoming into eastern Wyoming, and then eventually into eastern and even central Montana. And let's take a look at this map. As you can see, it's a better visualization there. Maybe a little bit of a clipper system diving into northern Utah and extreme northern Montana on Thursday. Kind of a separate system from the storm, but since I'm talking about the Northwest, I want to address that as well. But notice that it's going to fully pull away from Montana only by late Thursday, early Friday. So in terms of the total snowfall, notice Washington, Oregon, right, Idaho, not really anything significant. Obviously, the Idaho, panhandle of Idaho, and extreme western Montana could get that little clipper system, including Alberta, Canada, so Calgary could also pick up a little bit of snow from that. But the majority of the snowfall is northern Colorado. You could see much of Wyoming, especially eastern areas, and then that little strip of eastern Montana where amounts could easily get over towards a foot and a half. So that is a forecast for the Northwest. And let me actually just show you the European model for the Northwest. You can see it also. This came out at noon, so the more accurate, this is what's currently going on, and you can see that a lot of that snow dies down, other than in Wyoming and Montana, where that thing kind of explodes as that blizzard takes off. We do have that little clipper system that the GFS shows, the European shows it as well, just a little bit weaker, but again, that does bring some snow into Calgary, southern British, I guess extreme southeastern British Columbia and southern Alberta, and into portions of northern Montana and Idaho. But again, the main story is going to be this beast that's going to be kind of circulating a lot of that snow back into Montana. So looking at the total snowfall according to the European, very similar to what the GFS model was showing in terms of snowfall accumulations, nothing greater than maybe just a few inches across Idaho, Montana, where that clipper is. A few pockets of heavier snow across maybe Utah, where that snow's finishing up, but again, I would say widespread 6 to 12 inches across Montana, Wyoming. Some of these amounts are lighter. You can see barely reaching 7-8. That's assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. A lot of this will be falling in colder weather, which will make this snow fluffier snow, amounting to more snowfall, with the same amount of precipitation though. So that is the Northwest. Let's quickly now shift off towards the South and West, another region that we have thankfully kind of out of the way for the most part this system. Notice as of 6 p.m. we still have some obviously precipitation occurring, and you can see on the map it's not all of it's showing because a lot of it's kind of covered or it's hard to pick up for the radar because of the mountainous areas, but you can see Santa Fe was seeing some snow, still some rain, snow across northern Nevada. So this thing's still producing some snowfall, and you can see that by tomorrow morning though it's a lot less, maybe mainly Colorado, Wyoming, Wyoming, picking up that snow a little bit into the Wasatch still. Central Arizona, New Mexico, also the higher elevation, still picking up a little bit of snowfall. Nothing too significant though. And again, by Wednesday, Thursday, all of this is done. Maybe that, again, that little clipper getting in towards portions of even southern Idaho. We'll have to see that clipper, how that unfolds, because that is a bit of a separate news story and not necessarily this big cyclone. Again, most of this storm has already played out across this area. Some of the mounts across the Sierra were really incredible. 67 inches were reported. And notice that additional snowfall, according to the GFS, looks something in a kind of realm of, again, mainly a 2 to 6 inch event with the higher elevations, maybe up towards an additional foot. That mainly includes areas in Colorado, because in California, Nevada, you're mainly done. The European, very similar forecast. And again, some of these amounts have already actually fallen because this model came out at noon today, and this is now 7 p.m. when I'm recording this and releasing it. So the Southwest, Northwest, thankfully the regions are, save us a little bit of time. Most of the activity there is done. You can see the National Weather Service still has some warnings and advisories, obviously posted for these areas. Here we have frost advisories, the remnants of a winter storm warning across, Big Bear Lake, Sandbird, but notice that this is mainly done. 20% chance of snow showers, and then sunny tomorrow and into Wednesday. So this thing is, again, wrapped up for the much of the southwestern United States. Into New Mexico, this will continue for just a wee bit longer into tomorrow as well. And you can see tonight some scattered showers Tuesday, but nothing in terms of really heavy accumulations. So that is that. Now let's move on towards the north central United States, where this is the brunt, and I'm assuming most of my viewers are coming from, at least, yeah, I would say so, because the Northeast obviously still going to get impacted in south central United States, but this is kind of the area that takes the cake in terms of the extremes of this system. So let's go back and let me show you the HER model, because this model goes out to 84 hours every 6 hours or so. So it has relatively fresh data that we could look at, and again, it's high res, so it's pretty precise, but it only goes out to 48 hours, so it doesn't show the whole scope of the system. But I'll use the GFS and the European to show you the later parts. But again, as I mentioned, the next few hours, I mean, we are on the cusp of this thing exploding. The radar looks awfully quiet right now across the plains. We do have some signs of showers, some drizzle going on, freezing drizzle and whatnot, but this thing will be exploding. Notice by 8, 9, 10, Nebraska areas, even in South Dakota, that could be seeing feet of snowfall. We'll start off with maybe even some thunderstorms, some very heavy rainfall. And as this strengthens very quickly, we see the gradient grow. We have very strong southerly winds. On the backside, we have northerly winds. And notice, much of South Dakota lighting up in blue, Colorado, Nebraska, North Dakota not yet getting the worst of this, but you can see this thing's quickly transporting lots of precipitation. A healthy cold front develops, so Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, lots of rain from the south side of this thing, and it will be producing mainly rain, moderate rain, some thunderstorms. They won't be really severe. And notice we have a kind of a little secondary front here, which there could be some nasty little showers and storms as well. Notice the Panhandle, Nebraska, by tomorrow morning you're into this. This is absolutely smacking your area up top on the head. So is much of South Dakota. Again, eastern portions of South Dakota getting in on that rain, snow, ice mix. Notice Minneapolis. You're right, you are still mainly not seeing much activity up until tomorrow in the afternoon. And that's going to be kind of concerning, because look at all that sleet that is occurring at this point across southern South Dakota. Again, you guys will start off as rain for a good portion here of southeastern Minnesota and South Dakota, maybe even northern Iowa, but eventually that transitions into an ice, sleet mix as that cold air kind of clashes with that warm air. And notice that Minnesota, you get in on that freezing rain, sleet. It's going to be an icy mix, and winter weather advisories issued for you guys, but there could be some pretty powerful sleet activity. Notice further towards the north, very heavy snow stretching into North Dakota now. Still very heavy snow across much of South Dakota into Minnesota. Now we're starting to reach into northern Wisconsin, this heavy snow. Notice the rain stretching through Illinois, Missouri, very, very heavy rainfall, especially towards the south. Further up north, it's a little bit lighter, obviously, but still it's going to be cold, nasty rain, not really anything pleasant. The winds are going to be strong out of the south, so it's going to be a wind-driven rain. And notice that this thing continues pumping in that snow, and those winds continue to increase. North Dakota, South Dakota, the snow's falling, the wind's blowing, the temperature is dropping at this point. And notice that around this time frame, so around 24 hours from now, is when Minneapolis could start converting from some of that ice rain mix into more of a snow. Still no significant accumulations I would expect up until this period. Mainly north of the city will be the heaviest snow. Notice as it shifts into Wisconsin, again, the ice mix now into your area, into Michigan, maybe Indiana. and you can see this blizzard still spinning away. So just through the next 48 hours, you can see this system is already going to be dealing with, causing a lot of issues, but it's not over yet. And we're going to watch this area of precipitation eventually spit back into Minnesota, Wisconsin, providing even more snowfall. So just through Wednesday midday, so again, this thing's a long duration event for you guys here across the north central United States. Total accumulated precipitation, so in the form of rain and snow. Obviously, you can see it's pretty broad, but especially higher here across where those incredible snowfall rates could be occurring, which obviously leads to some very heavy snow. The HER model showing some areas well over even 2 feet of snow, so that is extremely significant. Much of South Dakota getting hammered with a foot and a half. Again, wind-driven snow. It's going to be pretty chilly at this point. You'll be seeing snowfall initially as a wet snow, but then the temperatures will be falling. And notice at hour 48 when I have this, a lot of these areas are 26, 24. That's not going to have a problem, sticking to the ground and whatnot. Further towards the east, as you can see, it's a lot warmer, which is why you have the ice and the freezing rain and whatnot. Let's move forward now and into the GFS model, because as I told you, the 48-hour model only takes us to 48 hours, or the HER model takes us only to 48 hours, and that's only part of the story. Notice as this cold front lifts into Canada and Minnesota, snow spreads into Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Ontario, and we do see quite a bit of that heavy precipitation, maybe even affect the arrowhead of Minneapolis or Minnesota with quite a bit of snow, because as you see, the southerly winds are going to be blowing off Lake Superior. The lake waters are pretty chilly, but that's going to add to some lake enhancement on the kind of the northern side of Lake Superior here, so that's definitely something interesting. But as I was saying, it seems like if this system's dying down, right, it's kind of falling apart, but we see a giant resurgence of moisture and precipitation. Now, this is where things get really, really tricky, because at this point we are, 60 hours out. So yes, we're 60 hours out and we're still talking about this system across the same region. And you can see mainly rain for anywhere north, south of Wisconsin line, Illinois, Indiana. That's not really concerned, but across northern Wisconsin and especially southern Wisconsin, there's a bit of it's going to be a tricky forecast. As you see, a lot of that rain is going to be heavily falling, and because of dynamic cooling, when rain is falling heavily enough, it could pretty much cool the column, and without even further air coming in from any different part of the region, it could just turn itself into snow. And now we see that often models are really bad at predicting that type of stuff, but you could see that there could be some heavy snow well south of in Green Bay. As of now, the winter storm watches only stretch into portions of northern Green Bay, so we'll have to see how far some of this snow gets into southern Wisconsin. But again, you can see that kind of resurges a lot of moisture back into Minnesota, into the UP. So this is where Minneapolis could get some of that snow. St. Cloud, right? A lot of it's kind of a resurgence of moisture. Notice again into the UP, northern Michigan. Finally, that was the last kind of wave of precipitation that this blizzard has with it. But you can see for the next few days afterwards, this storm continues spinning away, spitting some showers and lake effect. By the time everything is all said and done, total snowfall, assuming a 10-to-1 ratio, which a lot of this will be falling in fluffier amounts, so that's why some of these amounts, especially up across North Dakota and southern Canada, will be higher. You can see there will be many amounts, though, regardless, potentially over 2 feet, especially right here, again, as I mentioned, the enhancement of Lake Superior. Even Minneapolis, according to this, getting a few inches. I wouldn't look at this and say, oh wow, 6-8 inches. A lot of this, the GFS has often this problem where it shows ice but still counts it as snowfall. So don't think that there will necessarily be a foot of snow across the Twin Cities, but there could be still several 3 to 6 inches. Same thing with northern Wisconsin, though I would say there's a more plausibility here of 18 inches plus. So again, yeah, a massive event, and it's going to cause a lot of cold air to come in afterwards, after the system's all said and done. The European model, relatively similar, thankfully. We are in a time frame now where the models are starting to agree a bit more. Notice North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin getting in on its snow, and you can see as I drag this through Friday and Saturday, Minneapolis gets in on potentially, according to the European, 6 inches of snowfall. Again, not out of the question. And again, a lot of these amounts are underdone, especially for the north here, because, well, you'll have 8 inches of snow, assuming a 10-to-1 ratio, but it won't be. It'll be probably closer to a 20-to-1 ratio, so you could easily double that 8 into 16 inches. And just to show you how this plays out, this system, in terms of its, kind of how it folds out, just to show you with the GFS. Again, there's that system. It's, again, tomorrow it's going to be its absolute momentous peak in terms of its intensity, and then notice that by Wednesday it starts weakening slightly, though, again, that's mainly across across the North Dakota, South Dakota area, but still the bulk of the snow will be falling across Wisconsin into Wednesday during the night and into Wednesday and into Thursday as that resurgence of precipitation blasts back into that cold air. And that provides a lot of additional snowfall, especially across the UP, northern Wisconsin, and northern Minnesota. Eventually, this system, again, does weaken, and you can see it kind of spins away. So the European has, again, some pretty significant amounts of snow as well. Looking at the National Weather Service map, again, you can see they have much of northern Wisconsin still in those winter storm watches because it's a little bit further away, the event, compared to, Nebraska or South Dakota. Let's just click on just south of Wausau. Again, it will start off as a wintry mix, but this is going to be really interesting to see just a few degrees of difference. That could be ice, that could be sleet, that could be rain, that could be snow. So they're showing Tuesday night less than 1 inch, Wednesday around 2 inches, but then Wednesday night to Thursday night is where the bulk of the snow will be falling, and you could expect several inches, if not, a foot plus across some of these areas. Maybe not as far south as Wausau, but towards the UP here near Marquette, you will be seeing a lot of snow here. And that's just, you can see shown here. And the winter storm watch doesn't even stretch through all of that snowfall. So the winter storm watch calls for 4 to 7 inches, and that is just through Wednesday morning through Thursday morning, and a lot of that could be falling into Thursday afternoon, especially across the UP. Minneapolis, big city, right? A lot of folks from there, I assume, are watching, and you can see it's a whole mess in terms of the precipitation rate and whatnot. But that's why you have a winter weather advisory. Doesn't mean that you can't see some significant snow. I would say that up to 4 or 5 inches is still possible across the downtown Minneapolis area after that initial kind of sleet and rain mix. And then obviously, the areas that are going to really see the most is here. And you can see that look at this accumulation map. I mean, it's really, really, really impressive map for the plains. This is definitely a legendary storm. You can see 24 to 30 inches, probably one of the bigger ones going to be of the year. I wouldn't say the biggest. This winter does look pretty interesting, but yeah, it's going to be a massive one here. So that is that. I also actually just want to quickly show you North Dakota and its snowfall accumulation map. Again, you can see a little bit higher than what some of the models were showing because of that snowfall ratio. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to see this even a little bit more than what the National Weather Service is showing, especially towards the south. Okay, that is that for the north central United States. Let's move towards the south central, as this is another area that is very interesting because of the severe weather concerns. So again, right now, nothing. But in the next few hours, you'll be seeing a lot of precipitation. Notice the GFS. Let me go to the HER model because I don't know why I'm using the GFS, especially since it goes out, pretty much your event stops at, or is done by 48 hours. So notice for now, nothing. And actually, this is a few hours old, so this is when I'm recording the video around 7. Still some little showers. The big beasts start occurring around 10, 11. The panhandles of Oklahoma, Texas, Western Kansas. This does shift into Oklahoma, more of Dallas area, into central Kansas. Wichita, Topeka towards the early morning hours of tomorrow. And you can see the spreads through the day. Pretty slow moving. It's not going to be quick moving, so there could be some pretty significant rainfall along with this. Though you can see that they kind of weaken, but by tomorrow, late in the afternoon, they start re-strengthening across Louisiana, Arkansas, and this is where we see that severe weather potential. Again, Missouri, you're right, you mainly just seeing some pretty significant rainfall. Maybe the southern extreme portions of that state will be seeing some strong storms, not necessarily severe. Again, a lot of the severe stuff will be kept towards Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And you can see that as we push this through tomorrow late in the evening, as this crosses the Mississippi, congeals more into a linear structure, but you can see the HER model still showing a very slow moving system. And as this system, as you recall, we see that secondary push of moisture into that cold air. We see a slowdown of this and a kind of a new formation, as you can see right here, of a new storm or a new front. And you can see that a lot of these areas just get retrained with showers more and more and more. So just through hour 48, obviously Oklahoma, Kansas, you guys are done with the rain. So is Missouri, Arkansas, but not these areas. You already will be seeing a lot of rain, though. You can see across Mississippi, Louisiana. Again, there could be definitely an inch and a half, 2 inches across some of these thunderstorms. You can see they're pretty broad events, pretty widespread. It's nice, a lot of these areas need some water, but you can see some of these amounts here are going to get dangerously too high, honestly. And by the time all things are said and done, I would not be surprised to see some amounts, maybe in the double digits across some of these areas. As you can see, the GFS is calling 4, 5, 6 inches of rainfall. I would not be surprised to see some localized pockets of over that, over 10 inches. And if you were to take a look at what the European model shows, you can see it's a very similar story. Today, tomorrow, again, an explosion of storms across Oklahoma, Texas. They stay pretty non-severe, though. There will be some, but they really explode potent threat tomorrow across Arkansas, extreme eastern Texas, Louisiana, and then into Mississippi. And you can see that's where that slowdown occurs, right? So they cross in Mississippi. You think that, oh, it's out of the way, but look, this thing starts training back still across Louisiana, and then we see a resurgence into Wednesday during the day, right there, boom. So some areas could get kind of a double whammy, especially across Mississippi and eastern Louisiana as this thing re-intensifies. So the European, by the time things are all said and done, for these areas, it shows pockets of 4, 5, 6 inches. For a global model, that's very significant amounts. So would not be surprised to see some, again, isolated amounts of over in the double digits, which sounds ridiculous, but it's definitely possible. That's why the National Weather Service already has issued flash flood watches for Louisiana. Again, it hasn't been terribly dry. It's been pretty wet here. So for the past several days here, there's been some showers, and you can see the severe weather outlook is obviously posted, but there's an excessive rainfall outlook as well, and that's definitely going to be something we'll have to watch for. In terms of the severe weather, you can see this is what it looks like today, mainly the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, the good portion of northern Texas and into eastern Kansas, western Kansas. Tomorrow, more of a severe weather day again across mainly, again, that's slight across a good portion of Texas, including Dallas, Fort Worth, then that enhanced into Shreveport, Monroe, Alexandria, and Houston, Memphis, Little Rock, and Killian, Texas in the marginal. So a pretty large area. Biggest threat, tornadoes and winds. So unfortunately, this could still get upgraded to a moderate if the National Weather Service sees some big risks out of this. Wednesday, we see the severe threat continue throughout the Gulf Coast states, and then Thursday, they also have a severe weather day on Florida, which I'd not be surprised to see some enhanced issued there as well. So, yeah. That is that. But, for, again, the South Central United States, this thing is going to be done pretty much by Thursday and Friday. Moving on towards the Northeast now, as this is another area where we have, a lot of activity, a lot of disagreement, and a lot of potentially messy weather. So as I turn on the GFS model here, following that system yesterday, it dropped actually quite a bit of snow. There were some 6, even 8-inch amounts, even I think slightly over a foot in some areas. There will be a lot of cold air that circulates back in, so a lot of this warm air that tries pushing this cold air out will fail to do so, and will override on top of it, creating a pretty nasty sleet and ice event across Pennsylvania, Northern Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland. That will stay rather limited. You can see eventually turns into snow according to the GFS. As this pulls towards the north, some of that will, again, from the coast especially, convert into rain. But most of Pennsylvania, southern New York, will stay in that heavy snowfall. Toronto, you're going to start off with a little bit of snow and then convert again into rainfall. Though note that this system eventually starts intensifying and kind of a coastal low develops. It doesn't stay off the coast. It makes its way into the inland. And the GFS takes the most coastal track out of all the models. So, this one, I don't think New York City, Boston, any of those big cities are going to be seeing significant snowfall out of this, maybe some rain, but in areas just north and west of you will be seeing some pretty significant snowfall, and in the southern Canadian cities as well. As you can see, this kind of drags on through Saturday and Sunday. By the time all things are said and done, according to the GFS, and there still are quite a bit of differences here, you can see a lot of these amounts across northern Virginia, again, are going to be falling as ice. They're not going to be snow amounts, but the GFS still shows that. Includes sleet, you can see right there. So discount that, but across Pennsylvania, I would not be surprised to see some 6, 8-inch amounts, mainly east of Pittsburgh, but also north and west of, cities like Philadelphia. Upstate New York, seeing some decent snowfall, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, as well as southeastern Canada. European model, again, I would say I favor the European model over the GFS slightly, but notice that they have pretty similar features. You can see there's that initial the initial blast of precip starts off as ice. There will be some ice, so that is definitely concerning. Converts over into snow across much of southern Pennsylvania, or I should say central Pennsylvania, southern New York, and as this pushes off, you can see that coastal low develops, so it slows down, but we do see a lot of that rain falling mainly across the coastal areas. But up further north, you can see potentially Montreal, Ottawa, Quebec, all these cities lined up here. Friday will be a very messy day for you guys. There will be snow, same with much of New Hampshire, upstate New York, near Syracuse, into Maine. Even into Saturday, there will be some snow across southeastern Canada and the Northeast. but it will be winding down. But still, Quebec, further north and east, you will be seeing some pretty significant snowfall. By the time all things are said and done, the European snowfall amounts do look pretty significant as well, especially a little bit more than what the GFS shows for the southern Canadian areas. You can see potentially 12, 13 inches in terms of centimeters. That's 20, 30 centimeters of snow. And again, there are some differences we'll have to watch, but this is a more accurate snowfall graphic for, especially for areas like Virginia. As you recall, the GFS show that the ice, as snow, but it won't be falling as snow. So this is probably, I'm favoring the European. Still, though, you could see significant amounts across the Northeast, not the coastal cities, but it's still a lot of areas of metro, especially across southeastern Canada. So that is that mainly for the Northeast. With regards to the National Weather Service, I don't think they have any advisories or warnings yet posted yet, but they definitely do have mentions of it. Let's take a look at Binghamton, and let's just take a look at Ithaca. Click on their forecast, and you can see that for now nothing. But in the future, you do have snow, rain, snow again. It will be a little bit of a mixy kind of situation, but there definitely will be some snowfall falling there. Last region, Southeast, let's go. And let's take a glance at this. So you guys won't be really dealing with any snowfall here, thank goodness. Well, I guess for meteorologists, thank goodness. For the snow lovers, maybe not. But notice that for the next, still a few hours, you guys will be fine. But by early Wednesday, so not tomorrow, but by Wednesday, we see this cold front spilling into Tennessee, Kentucky, and into, again, Mississippi, Alabama. Quite a bit of severe weather could be still, again, occurring, especially towards the southern areas, especially as the system re-intensifies, reinvigorates, and this is now into late Wednesday and into Thursday. So much of Alabama is going to be under the brunt of this late Wednesday into Thursday. Georgia a little bit later on, maybe early Thursday into the midday Thursday, and then South Carolina and especially Florida into the day on Thursday and into early Friday. That severe weather threat could also be pretty concerning there. And I would not be surprised to see an enhanced risk of severe weather issued there. By the time all things are said and done, the total rainfall is going to be pretty significant. You could see that there will be amounts, especially here where it kind of starts slowing down across Tennessee, Kentucky. There could be some amounts, potentially 6, 7, 8 inch total. So definitely heavy rain, and potentially where the severe weather occurs, obviously heavy rainfall. And I want to show you this because you can see let's go back and I'm trying to show you this. Wednesday, day 3 is going to be you can see mainly across the Gulf Coast states. Again, this is a slight, so it's not terribly high, but it's still a pretty large area, large cities, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Mobile, Tallahassee, so some large areas that could be under some severe weather. And on Thursday, especially across Florida and southeastern Georgia, again, it's pretty far out, and they're already pretty confident with that, so I would not be surprised to see it enhanced there. Again, main threat, hail and tornadoes and wind with those as well. All right, so that is basically it. I just kind of wanted to give you a brief rundown of that. Let's give you guys now a quick overview of the general storm. Just a general kind of overview, just to show you how really impressive this thing is. And you can see right there, boom, this thing is going to be exploding. As we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, obviously I showed you that. Again, just the longevity of this thing is also very impressive. You can see it just stubborn. Again, by Thursday, this thing is still affecting the north central United States, a bit further east, but still, northeast is just getting in on this on Friday, and it finally shoves out of here by Saturday and Sunday, almost a week from today. And then it cools down. A lot of the United States will be colder left after this system. And then what happens then is anyone's best guess. The models have a huge range of disagreement. Some show big storms, some like the European show some sort of activity, not amounting to much, then showing a larger system right before Christmas. The GFS right now with its most recent model run isn't showing much, but with its model run even as late as or early as today in the nude, it was showing a much more active pattern in the long range. You could see the first storm system potentially occurring on the 21st through much of the Midwest, falling as snow for a grand majority of the United States, and then more of a Southern U.S. system. Look what the GFS is showing here. So if you wanted a white Christmas across Texas, you actually might have, according to the GFS, if this were to come true, again, far out, unfortunately, but Dallas, you'd be in for a white Christmas there, as that's falling on the 23rd, 24th, and it doesn't look like it would be melting there. Pushes on through the northeast there, maybe even into Georgia. Yeah, the potential is there. So that's that. And I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. For now, that's all I have for you. Thank you. See ya. Bye.